Hey guys, welcome to the new name of my channel, Manifest Fast with Jasmine. I think I'm gonna stick with this one because it's kind of what I was going with anyway. In this video, by the way, thank you for subscribing and being here listening to my existential ramblings. But in this video, I'm gonna tell you guys just my experience of how I became conscious and how I was able to apply manifesting differently that actually did change my life on a persistent, consistent, ongoing basis. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna couple that with like my story, right? Like how it happened for me. So I have some notes here. It started with a decision to believe differently, and then it evolved from there. But at first, like if I go back and try to remember where this began, I decided to believe in abundance, in the abundance of everything, and in the fact that I am receiving all of my desires and that I am always fulfilled because it kind of started by me believing in the abundance of the universe and that that's what's naturally happening automatically. And then that kind of evolved into realizing that all of my desires are always being fulfilled anyway, and that I am the only one who needs to perceive that. I'm the only thing that needs to be in place to perceive the perfection of my life and the fulfillment of my desires. And if I am not seeing that, then it is me who is looking at that incorrectly because it's already perfectly happening, and it's already, the abundance is already raining down upon me all of the time, and I'm always getting what I want all of the time. Now, that's consciousness. If you're not conscious, this is a really tough pill to swallow, and basically you can't learn from that place. So consciousness is basically just when you believe. And that is what made all the difference, is just choosing to go back to that belief. Now, I implemented that. Oh, by the way, this is what religion is all about. That's the hype with the religion, is do you believe, is what it comes down to, because that's how important it is. That's the common thread. Do you believe? Right, in the abundance, and that you're taken care of, and that everything is good and right for you, and that everything is being orchestrated for you. And do you believe in the fulfillment of your desires? You have to believe. That's what triggers everything else. So I decided to believe more, bigger, on a more consistent level, on a deeper level, on a more aware level. I chose to believe more and more and more. Now, I implemented this with answer mode and God state. There are a lot of things that have changed in my teachings. I'm not going to remove anything because, every little bit helps. I mean, if you just apply anything consciously and do what you're drawn to do, then anything can work for you. But the one thing that has, or a couple things that have not changed, are answer mode and God state, and how really helpful that those are, and how helpful that they've been to me also and other people. When I'm taking on clients now, the changes that are happening with them are more profound than they used to be, and they're more reliable. It's kind of like not even really a challenge anymore, and they get to learn for themselves just how much it's really all in their perspective. And yes, things do manifest, but as you know, your perspective is what manifests. So first you have to take on that perspective. And then yes, you'll be able to see the perfection in the more that is happening already, but then more will come from that reality that you're already established within. When I first started really taking on and integrating the idea of consciousness, I was a little bit confused at first before I was fully integrated in it. I was a little bit confused about the other manifestational ideas, like, are you still creating it or is it already done? That type thing, you know? What's the difference between, like, changing your perspective and then something actually materializing, right? Because things do materialize and occur and happen moment to moment. You know, somebody, if you're on this journey and you're doing this consciousness thing, somebody's going to call you and they're going to say something. And it's true that that did not happen 2 seconds ago, you know? So, like, I was trying to sort that all out. And yeah, what I realized is that consciousness is a perspective. And whatever perspective that you take on is where the more the more happening after that occurrence and your change in perception, it will reflect that already established perspective. Okay. So I decided to believe, and I started implementing answer mode and God state, answer mode and God state, answer mode and God state, and following my joy, and also the acknowledgement that nothing can get in my way. It doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what I feel, there's nothing that I can do to mess it up. Like, it's just that too. A big part of it is letting go of the need, but you let go of the need by knowing that everything's already perfect. I think the most important thing was the choosing to believe, because, and I have videos about this that, I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but I have a video on belief coming up on Wednesday and Friday while I'm in Cancun. So that's going to be like the 13th or the 12th, and then that Friday, so 12, like the 14th maybe of February. And those really are very good explanations. What else? Let's see. So the thing about answer mode and God state, I mean, you hear me say that, but let me explain it a little bit, because answer mode is very constant. It's a constant practice. And the reason why, like, that's the reason why it's so good, is because no matter what other technique that you're doing, it's like for a moment in time. You practice it for a segment in your life, and then you go back to business as usual, is what I was noticing in people, and that was a problem. Because where's the reinforcement? So answer mode is that reinforcement, because you can do that in every moment of your life. So I had some time in my life, like weeks, I guess, and I still do it now, but the conscious effort is required less often from me at this point, because it's more subconscious, you could say. But the answer mode, I had like a couple weeks where I was just answer mode, answer mode, answer mode, answer mode. Anytime that I would feel off, uncomfortable, any unconscious thing or thought, I would just go back to answer mode, answer mode, answer mode, which I've talked about. You know, I've talked about that it's like dropping the negative emotion. The only thing that matters is that you feel good right now, you going general, dropping the problem, and just knowing that everything is all right. Consciousness, right? And then God state, and I would practice God state. What happens with God state is that, yes, at first it's like a practice, like you could do the meditation at night and in the morning, but then you start to be able to do it a lot faster. So I got to a point where I could just think about God's state and intend to be there, and then I would be there. And then I kind of got to the point where I was like, answer mode and God's state, like, just was kind of normal for me. And then if I ever did need to get back into it, I would just remember it and set myself straight that way. So it gets easier, like a lot easier. And then when you start being okay, like a lot, then you're like, what do I need to do? Like, I think I'm already good. And then you like don't really know where to go from there, but that's where you like, you know, follow your joy and take it further and have fun fantasizing and realize that there's nothing to do. You're just okay. That doesn't require anything. And that's the thing, is none of this requires anything. It's getting simpler and simpler. The more that you understand it, the simpler it becomes. It doesn't require anything. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to change. It's already done. Just let it already be done. That's the work. letting it already be done. And letting yourself know it's already done no matter what. Not letting anything fool you. Not letting appearances fool you. So, let's see. Oh, okay, there's a few more things in here. The willingness to act. When I'm inspired towards something, but I always knew this and I've always been good at this. When I'm inspired towards something, it's very, very, very important that I act on it. So I made sure that I was continuing to do that in bigger and bigger ways, because that's what life requires. Life requires you to be willing to act as you're inspired and to act on your belief in bigger and bigger ways. So I allowed myself to be willing to do that, and that has been tremendous. You know, like getting this camera set up. You know what I had to do this setup? I had to like change all my furniture around in my house by myself. Like at first I tried to get someone to help me do it, but when that fell through, I was like, all right, I'm not waiting for anybody. I'm gonna do it my damn self, and I did. The willingness to act. I'm not saying try to do things that you're incapable of doing, but you're capable of doing a lot more than you know. Letting go of belief number 1, that I have to do something in order to manifest. It's the opposite. So when you start going more general and just being answer mode, God state, consciousness, I just know everything is perfect, okay, everything's perfect right now. Then you're enjoying more and more perfection, and then you're okay more and more of the time. And then you're like, I'm just okay, but shouldn't I be doing something to manifest something? Shouldn't I be doing something? The answer is no. No. I've told you guys a million times. Manifesting, techniques don't manifest. Deliberation does not manifest. There's nothing that you can do to manifest something. It's the opposite. You just know that it's already done and you let it happen because you know that it's happening perfectly for you already. And when something is imperfect, like you know for sure that you don't like this thing, there's perfection in that. Let me explain this a little bit. So, the reason why things tend to manifest once you gain clarity on them is because, not because you're creating it, not because you're manifesting it, it's manifesting all by itself. You actually don't have anything to do with that. It's the universal you that's already doing that. Like, that's happening no matter what. But the reason why things tend to appear to occur after you get clear on them is because if you don't know what you want, then you will not recognize what you want and perceive it and receive it and accept it. So, for instance, with my daughter, she's 3, okay? And she's really picky with food. And I will make things for her that I know that she will like and enjoy very much. But if it's unfamiliar to her, what I'm making, she'll say, I don't like that, I don't want that. And she'll have a fit about it. And I'm like, no, like, just try it. Like, you're gonna like it. Just try it. You just gotta try it. You'll like it. I know that you'll like it. And then after having a fit, then she'll end up trying it. And she'll be like, Mommy, I tried it and I liked it. I like it. And I'm like, I know. But because it was unfamiliar to her, she was not able to perceive that at first. She thought it was something undesirable to her until she tried it. You know? So that's why you have to get very clear on what you want. Or you have to know what you want in order to identify it, like recognize it, like. And this happens a lot with people, is you think that you want a person like that, but if you're not sure about what you want, like if you don't actually know consciously what you want, now when you're conscious, you will always be led to what you want. That will happen naturally. But if you're unconscious and then you're making too many judgments and assumptions, then it's hard to be led to it because you're not recognizing that it's something that you want. And you're actually thinking about something else, you know? So that happens a lot. And if you experience something unwanted, it's helping you clarify what you do want. And I know that this is the thing that we all complain about. We're like, oh my God, I didn't want this thing, and we don't see the good in it. But when you become conscious and you know that everything is perfectly unfolding for you, then you will see the purpose in everything that happens in your life. And you'll see how something unwanted helps you get more clear on what you want, so that you can, yes, ask for it, but really so that you can just be clear on that. Yes, I want that thing. Doesn't it feel so good when you know what you want? Oh, I want that thing. Like, that's awesome. I love that. I love when that happens, and that means you're getting closer to it. So I always appreciate that, even if it's born of something that wasn't desirable to me, because I desire to know what I want. Also, that's part of what I desire. I desire to know what I want. I desire to be clear on it. I desire to be fully ready when it comes, and I can only be fully ready to receive it if I'm able to identify it when it comes. So I want to make sure that I can identify what I want, like my desire, when it's in front of me. It's very important. So that's a lot of what's happening, and I enjoy that whole process. It's delicious. It's nice. Because I know that I'm getting what I want anyway, even if it's not here this second. There's no doubt. I don't have to fight against anything. I don't have to, if something happens that makes it look like I'm not going to get what I want, it doesn't matter. That's part of my perfect process. That's part of the excitement and the thrill for me. And I know it's making it so much better in the end. Oh, delicious. So that's a big part of it. So you don't have to do anything, you just have to know that it's done. That's the most powerful process right there. And if you do what I'm saying, you'll be in that most powerful process a lot more. Letting go of belief number 2. Belief number 2 that I'm talking about now, it's that you think that you know something. These are assumptions, these are judgments, these are projections. You think that you know something. So a wise man knows he knows nothing. You got to be really careful with this, because the second that you think, I want that and not that, and this undesirable thing is happening, that's the second that you're unconscious and you're looking at it wrong. If you're looking at it wrong, you'll be unhappy. If you're looking at it consciously, you will be happy. If you really know that, because some people be like, oh, I believe and I know, but I'm still upset about the thing. Then you don't believe and you don't know. So that's what you need to work on. How do you work on it? Answer mode, God state, following your joy, the willingness to act on your belief, all of it. So you have to let go of what you think that you know in order to receive what you actually want. So it's kind of like going back and forth between the clarification that comes to you naturally and the clarification of what you want that is inspired when you're like, oh, yes, that thing in my head sounds and looks and feels so delicious, and I love that fantasy. Yes, I know what I want. I know that I want this thing. And then you're also going to, I don't know, it'll happen perfectly. I don't know, it's all perfect. I don't know, I don't give a shit or fuck, or I don't know, I just know that everything is unfolding perfectly for me, It's going back and forth from that. So you're enjoying clarity, but you're also continuing to be non-insistent. That balance is important. So when there is clarity inspired, where you want to think about something specifically, that's fine. As long as it's like all in good fun, and you're enjoying it, it's inspired. But it can never be insistent. So anytime that it turns into insistence, that's what you have to release. Because consciousness never insists. Okay, unconsciousness is resistance. Insistence is resistance. So when you're insisting on something, you're resisting something else. So resistance and insistence is unconsciousness. That's what you have to get the habit of dropping. Drop, drop, drop. Sometimes you just know something into being. Sometimes you just know something's going to happen. It's not insisting, it's just knowing. And you'll know when you're doing that. But sometimes it becomes insistence and you have to just let it go. Because you are going to get what you want. And if you know that, there's no reason to insist or resist anything. That's what we're dropping in the whole manifestation thing. We're just dropping insistence and resistance. It comes down to that. Because if I just know that everything is happening for me perfectly and it's already done, it's already there, it's already perfect, first of all, I'll be able to see things differently from that moment. But second of all, that's what makes that reality unfold. That's what it is. That's all manifesting is. Deliberate manifestation. That's all deliberate manifestation is. It comes down to that. And now I just keep that up. And things that used to be a big deal to me are not a big deal to me anymore. And left and right, things happen that, like I said, used to be a big deal to me, and now they're just matter of fact. And when I look at how I'm manifesting these things, I'm spending a lot of time just being conscious in general. Just knowing it's all perfect all the time. I'm not doing any more work than that, unless if I want to. I do a lot of following my joy, a lot more following my joy, and whatever it is that I'm doing, I put more fun into it, like this setup. I love my setup. Like this dress. I told a story about this dress in my group. What else do you believe? What else do I have written here? You must know what you want, because if you don't, you may not easily recognize it or accept it. That's why it must be conscious. I told you that. The reason for conscious clarification is not to create it. Right. It's because you need to recognize it. And the journey of recognizing it is fun. What else? Yeah, I manifested very big things for myself since I started doing this that were previously unimaginable. And it's funny because I'm like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm spending a lot of time just being general and doing nothing in particular. I'm not trying. Yeah, I have a very conscious awareness now, and it's not like I don't have off moments, because I guess you could say I attract things, I attract things that sometimes throw me off a little bit. But when you're thrown off, I don't resist being thrown off. I'm like, I want to feel better, and I make the effort to think something or do something that feels better. But if I don't succeed, I'm okay with this experience that I'm having right now, because everything is always perfect anyway, and there's nothing I can do to mess anything up anyway. So I just know that through and through. And then it makes those times, number one, they don't matter. Number two, they can pass quickly. And number three, they just mean less when they happen, so it doesn't matter. Not resisting anything. It kind of makes the good sweeter too. That's a big point. I hope this was good for you guys. I love you guys. I hope this video helped. Feel free to comment. Make sure that you're catching up and watching the videos that are coming out, especially this week, because they are so bomb. You don't have to like the video, but give it a like if you like it. And I'll see you guys next time.